Like many of Wii U's launch ports, Disney Epic Mickey 2: The Power of Two is essentially the exact same game as its PS3 and Xbox 360 counterparts. It looks the same, and for the most part runs the same, with the exception of some frame rate stuttering in the Wii U version. Weirdly enough, unlike in the original game or the Wii version of Epic 2, you can't use a Wii remote to control Mickey. In fact, you can only control Mickey using the gamepad, with the Wii remote being relegated to the Oswald player in co-op mode. This is a strange oversight, especially since the Wii U, and even this very game, still very much supports Wii remotes, and that the entire franchise was originally built around the idea of painting with Nintendo's motion-enabled controller. Speaking of wasted potential, if the developer wanted to shove the Wii U gamepad down players' throats, they should have at least done something interesting with it. As is, the gamepad is only used as a map screen where you can also see objectives, side missions, and points of interest. Having a map handy is always helpful, but very far from a game changer. So that covers the Wii U specific features of Disney Epic Mickey 2: The Power of Two. Since the Wii U editions don't really affect the quality of the original game, the score of the PS3 and 360 versions still stands. For everything you need to know about the game, here's our original review.
Disney's Epic Mickey 2: The Power of Two tries to be many things. It's a co-op game, it's a musical, it's a platformer with elements of choice and consequence, it's a lovingly crafted homage to both the Disney of yesteryear and its iconic theme parks. It's an attempt to right the wrongs of its predecessor. Everything about this game speaks of a determination to get Disney Interactive Studios' great white and black hope right this time. But the weight of developer Junction Point Studios' ambition has resulted in a game that buckles at the knees. Epic Mickey 2 still retains the classic Disney charm so lovingly injected by designer Warren Spector, but its nostalgic heart is its high point. Visually, Epic Mickey 2 is a gift to be savoured. Practically, it's plagued with problems.
Well, try and try again. That's my motto.
Oh, gosh, that was a doozy of a landing. But I sure am glad to see you guys. What's going on?
Epic Mickey 2 returns us to the wasteland, that busted-up sprawl home to rejected or long-forgotten tunes. Mickey is again on a world repair mission of sorts, armed with his trusty paintbrush, which can rebuild his environment or thin it out, dependent on how you wish to play. This time, Mickey's permanently joined by Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, the more charming of the two by the width of a detachable boomerang arm.
Now you'll see what I can really do, Mickey.
The game takes us on another journey through a world built from discarded Disney memorabilia, references and broken-down animatronics, a delight for the Disney enthusiast to nosy around in. Spectre's peculiar combination of cool mechanics and warm Disney familiarity returns and remains a highlight. The world is at its most enticing when it unfolds like a kind of childhood fever dream. There are a couple of immediately obvious new additions to the formula. Characters now have voices, adding refreshing personality to fan favourites, and there's the occasional musical number.
All the things that went so wrong, it was I who planned it.
Strangely, these songs are too sporadic to leave a lasting impression. For all the talk of Epic Mickey 2's Broadway-style ambitions, they're a nice but inessential touch. Like its predecessor, Epic Mickey 2's score is excellent. A haunting mixture of children's chorus, sweeping orchestra, and whimsical throwbacks to tunes of yesteryear. At least to the ear, Epic Mickey 2 does a good job at making you feel like you're playing something much grander than a passable platformer. Because, for all its ambition, Epic Mickey 2 has failed to get some very basic features right. While simplistic minute-to-minute gameplay is forgivable, this is a kid's game after all, Mickey's central objectives eventually grow repetitive and tiresome. The dull duty of reviving dead machines over the course of 20 hours is exacerbated by audio cues that remind you of your task at hand in a never-ending loop.
You'll have to redirect the current to get this thing operating again.
The addition of two new types of ink, invisible and indelible, mixes the gameplay up somewhat, but only rarely do they prove essential in any given objective. Further, Junction Point Studios still hasn't fixed the slippery surfaces or the pesky camera of the original, which sits too low. The combination makes battles, particularly boss fights, needlessly difficult as you struggle to pull focus on your target. Now, these problems aren't offset by the much talked about choice and consequence that forms the undercurrent of Epic Mickey 2. Sometimes it's clear why you're being punished for an action. You went against orders or destroy too many enemies. But frequently your behavior feels arbitrarily judged.
I don't know why you bothered with all three.
Perhaps you accidentally set an enemy free from a cage or thinned a piece of machinery that apparently you shouldn't have, despite many objectives demanding the use of thinner. It's an oddly muddy system, only fully making sense if it's pointed out, and by the game's conclusion, it ceased to matter. While it's commendable that Junction Point Studios has tried to create a morally complicated world where the choice between good and bad is not glaringly obvious, it's difficult to praise its ultimately inconsequential realization. If you want to get the most out of Epic Mickey 2, you'd best deviate from the main path altogether and explore its nooks, crannies, and many, many charming side quests. For this, you need a human co-op partner. The AI-controlled Oswald is infuriatingly inconsistent, occasionally disappearing for entire sections or yelling out his acknowledgements of your commands while remaining stationary.
I'm all over it.
As a split-screen game, Epic Mickey 2 is kicked into life, opening itself up to much more intuitive exploration.
Careful! That explosion could hurt someone!
Ultimately, there is a feeling here of missed opportunity. Junction Point Studios tried hard to revolutionize the wheel, but Epic Mickey 2 leaves you wishing the developer had refined the mechanics of the original before embarking on its more intrepid endeavors. Disney charm and a unique aesthetic prove its saving grace, but not by much. For more on Disney's Epic Mickey 2, head on over to IGN.